Hello, and welcome to this part of the pond. As you can tell, I'm off of work, fresh out of the shower, and ready to have some fun. And as you can tell, I do a lot of movie reviews and a deep dive. But though this list may be small, the playlist may be small, I do book reviews, and I will take suggestions. And this suggestion of a book series for me to read comes from my good friend, who I will give a nickname because for protections and for reasons. I'll call him Der German of the German clan. By the way, clan, jawohl! But that's beside the point. He wanted me to read Ranger's Apprentice. And I did. This suggestion came out Christmas, and there's something you should know about the Ranger's Apprentice. There's a lot of books. And guess what? Library didn't have one. One of them, number 12. 13 books! And I did it! Began after Christmas, and it's now February 6th. This was a long one. But to be fair, I kind of cheated. I listened at work. I brought these just so you guys can see what a toll this took. Oh, my good friend Big Gulp helped me. Not an endorsement shout out, but that cup sure did help a lot. But The Ranger's Apprentice by John Flanagan, and this is the Bullfrog doing his book review on this international best-selling book series. And I'm late to the party. A few years late to the party. But this book series is based in another world called Araluen, and this kingdom, the world's not Araluen, but the kingdom is Araluen. Sorry, unscripted. And in this kingdom, they have this special this special group called Rangers. And they are kind of like this super elite force that goes around upholding the king's law and justice. And one of them, by the name of Halt, recruits a ward of the castle, Will. And, as you can tell, they have too many adventures. And there's a lot. There's a lot going on in this book series. And I liked it. But most importantly, this series did something I haven't seen in a lot of book series, let alone ones of this size. This has the same number as Wheel of Time, 13 to 14 books. But unlike Wheel of Time, these things are shorter than the Wheel of Time books. But one thing, again, that's very interesting, Wheel of Time, I suggested on, had a consistent villain and set of villains, but they were all tied to this singular plot. Flanagan, with his Ranger Apprentice series, goes a different route. Almost every 2 books shares one villain, save but one. And let's see here. Yes. These 3 share one villain. Well, villains, but still only one is consistent through 3. The rest, there's no 2 books share one villain. And it's very interesting. I liked it. It didn't feel stale. How, with a book series like this, you would have this long consecutive plot. But again, there's multiple villains, there's multiple threats to the kingdom. And that would probably go stale, but he doesn't. He goes a different route. And that route is, the kingdom is under threat, but here's how. Rebel. An outside force an outside force trying to raid the kingdom, but then they stop it. And right here, is because an ally was captured and they have to ransom him. Because if they don't, that could lead. It's because of friendship for this one. For these two. For these, it's more like this line of an assassination on another kingdom. Because it was really through a cult. It's through the assassination is actually through a cult. People in another kingdom growing in power, and then they would invade our main kingdom. So it's like, oh crap, we need to deal with this form of a villain. And it kind of shifts. The style of villains is very unique. They are a threat in a different form. It's not the same style. And it's very unique. I thought that was really cool. And the most important book, I think, is really book 3. This sets the stage more than anything. Our hero is sold as a slave, and what happens is he's freezing cold, he's beaten, he's without a friend, he's lost his friend, he feels like he's being overwhelmed, and then a form of kindness comes and says, here, this plant will help you get warm. Oh, okay. It's actually a drug. And he becomes hooked on it. And after that means we don't see the main character's POV. He's a drug addict, not by his own free will. And it takes a friend to pull him out, just figure out an escape. It's very unique, and that kind of sets the stage of threat. Because with these books, it's predictable. Oh, I know what's going to happen. They're going to win, right? Yes. But book 3, it will remain a shadow. They're going to go well. But that happened. So, what's going to happen now? It's unpredictably predictable. You'll understand that they're going to win in the end, but yet the threat level, because of this book, looms over you. You're wondering, all right, I'm reading this, and yet here's this villain. Oh my gosh, what's the villain going to do? What's the villain going to do? It really hangs over you. Yes, you know you're going to defeat the villain, but the threat of the villain and what the villain will do is far more intense. And each villain is very different of a threat. That is really cool and unique. It almost feels like an episode. It's really different. And I really liked it. And the heart and soul of this book series, this may sound weird, is banter. The sarcasm and the wit gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and you enjoy it. Soon an inside joke happens, and with each book it gets funnier and funnier and funnier, to the point that you're going, yes, I like it. I can see why this is an international bestseller. It's really good, but as you can tell, there are some flaws. No matter who we are, there is a flaw. And there's a flaw with this series. And there's some cheese, but that's not its fault. This is more aimed at a high school, young adult audience. But that being so, young, and maybe even mostly middle schooler, Harry Potter. Not high school, but it's more Harry Potter. With that, there has to be exposition. And that can wane heavy at sometimes. But for the book's defense, it's the age it's pointing to, but yet any age can enjoy this. You can tell it's mostly meant for boys. But they have 2 female leads that grow in the book series that are very unique. It's like here's this girl A, who is Alice, is more part of femininity. It's not that she's, I broke a nail. I'm not a fan of those girls, no offense, but broke a nail. Sorry, but she's not like a girly girl. She understands that she doesn't have the same skill set. She is not a ranger. She is actually a courier. And so they have that to deal with. But yet you have the other side, which is Madeline. No, not Madeline. I mean Evelyn. Sorry. Madeline, Evelyn, they sound familiar. But with Evelyn, she's more of a tomboy, and she fights and is more pushive and progressive. So you see that in here, and it's not loud and proud, but yet I kind of liked it. And this is really good. There's very little flaws, but there are some. And one of the worst is actually this one, Lost Stories. Originally, you could tell he wanted to go this far, but yet he did this, and then he continued on. And this feels like a hiccup. And it kind of hurts the series. But I felt like if you just skip the first chapters, like the first chapter and the last chapter, it's good. And these last books are amazing. The last book. The Duel at Ireland is really good. I like it. High praise. And it may be but the biggest flaw is his world building. It's obvious. Scandinavian, Scotty, Scottish, the Iberians, the Iberian Peninsula, Spain. The good thing I have the book, I can see it. The Emperor Nihon-ja. It's obvious they're in Japan. He borrows from our world. He created this mythical world, and yet he uses a lot of today and puts it in. And it's kind of annoying, but yet you don't mind. When the book series continues on, it grows on you. But yet I was open for more. The magic is very, very subtle, almost non-existent. And I didn't mind. But book one sets the style of there's going to be like this magic, but not loud, but it's there. And so, but all in all, and before I go there, P.S. One flaw, it's the biggest nitpick. No one should worry about it, but it bothers the crap out of me. The main character does get his last name, Will. Again, he's an orphan, a ward of the state. He finally gets his last name, and it's Will Treaty. And they had two other names he could go for. Other than, he had Will Boar Killer, but then Will of the Bridges. Why didn't you go for that? I know this is a nitpick. It means nothing to the book series, but I thought that sounded like a better name. By all means, why didn't you go there? Will Treaty sounds okay, but Will of the Bridges sounds like Will of the Wisp, adds more magic to the character, and honestly, that sounds more like an why Will Treaty? Go with Will of the Bridge. It sounds awesome. It sounds legit. But again, that's the smallest nitpick. Not really hurting this mountain. But all in all, this is good. I liked it. I would actually give the whole... I don't think I should do a one-by-one, but the books that really stand out the most, again, is 3. The last trilogy, the last 3 books, mainly the last book. And I really, really enjoyed The Emperor of Nihon-ja. It was really good and very fun. So, this series as a whole, I rate books and movies 1 out of 7. 1 being I would gladly watch the Olsen twins. 7 being artfully perfect. Well, not perfect. Everything has a flaw. I actually would put this as a... I think I'll put it as a 5 out of 7. Wide Low, there's again some flaws, and my favorite book has a conundrum problem. And I don't want to spoil, but it just bothers the crap out of me how a character is stuck in a tower in her own castle. She's locked herself in a tower, and the bad guy starts launching catapults at him. And I'm wondering, I bet aren't the citizens going, "Hey, Tom, yeah, Dick? Why is it the queen is throwing rocks at her own tower? I mean, that looks like a cannon bolt. Why is she doing that?" Tom, I don't know, Dick. What do you think, Stanley? It doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think you're right. You know what? Well, how about us, Tom, Dick, and Stanley, go up and ask a question? I mean, what the heck is going on in that castle? They're trying to hurt their own building. Why? The citizenry doesn't exist. I'm sure there's people there. It's a castle that has a seaport, that has a river port, which means people work there. The citizenry is there. They can't just watch this and be ignoring it. It doesn't make sense. That bothered the crap out of me, and it's in my favorite book. And the flaws don't really pile on, but the cheese, the structure, I say it's a 5 out of 7. Do I think does that hurt it? No. I really love these books. I bet the reread will make it just as fun. I don't think you'll lose magic here. I think these books are going to be just as rereadable, just as magical as Harry Potter, but not in the same style. So, Ranger's Apprentice. The Bullfrog is late to the game, but I enjoyed it. The whole series as a whole, 5 out of 7. And this is the Bullfrog signing out.